So if a state with tax incentives gets rid of those incentives, is the whole film and television industry going to go with it? So the entire industry is not going to go, but a big chunk of it will go because tax credits are just an essential part of financing independent films. It just is, and it's also a major reason studios like to bring Marvel movies and television series elsewhere. But one thing I want to point out is that, films do not receive tax incentives until they spend a lot of money. It's not like in the UK where you're given a grant up front, okay? Films spend the money in the state before they get any kind of tax incentive. So while the state, coffers, like the actual state bank accounts, are paying out, a significant portion of money to the film, that only happens after the film has paid substantial amounts of money into the local economy. So the local economy definitely benefits, right? It's just a matter of calibrating, how much the state is benefiting versus how much the state is paying out. Is this a subsidy? Yes, it is a subsidy, right? It is a subsidy. And it does not work for every state. It just doesn't. For instance, you don't really want to subsidize something that you have anyway or you have already, right? So it doesn't necessarily make sense for the state of California to have tax subsidies for film, just like it doesn't really make a ton of sense for the state of Louisiana to have tax subsidies for oil and gas. The oil and gas industry is going to be there anyway, just by virtue of the local typography. It's just going to be there. Oil and gas is readily available in the geographic area of Louisiana, so it's going to be there anyway, and it doesn't make sense to give oil and gas really big subsidies. But I want to talk about how states benefit in total from having tax incentives, okay? And I'm going to use Louisiana as an example because I know a lot about it. So historically, the state of Louisiana does not have a diverse economy. It used to be an agrarian economy, and now the vast majority of the GDP is from oil and gas, right? So it just does not have as diverse an economy as New York or Los Angeles, or Georgia for that matter. So I think it's smart for states like Louisiana to incentivize film and also to incentivize tech, right? Because those are both industries that are not siloed. They affect like literally everything else that's going on in your state, and they are also great, like coveted, industries for people in college that want a career. There are some great universities in Louisiana like LSU and like Tulane, but what good does it do to have a university like that if as soon as you graduate, you've got to leave the state to find a job? So, these states need to diversify their economy in some ways, and incentives are an effective way to do it. Stick around for part two.